Parenting after separation. Parenting after separation. Parenting after separation. Hello, everybody. I am Becca, aka the Serenadian, your Dimdin podcast host. Love our conversation, the last episode. And I really am looking forward to debrief this a little bit more today, as I have a little bit of free time today and I want to connect with my community. So I'm like, let's go online, let's go live and see who's available. Let's see who is available that we can connect with. Let's go online. Let's have a conversation about our last episode. Co-parenting made easy. Co-parenting made easy. I love this. I'm actually watching it right now. As we're talking, I'm watching. And I want to talk about this a little bit more. Hoping to connect with the community today. I have a little bit of free time. So I'm like, let me come online and chat with my community, because why not? Why not? You guys are the most important people on this platform. So I need to connect one-on-one. And if you saw our most recent episode, Co-Parenting Made Easy, then let's talk about it. Give me your input on that episode. I feel like there's a lot more to talk about for sure. There's a lot more we could have talked about for that specific episode. But that is why we are going to look into a part 2. Because it's a big topic. It's a big topic. It's a big topic. Co-parenting made easy. Have you ever had to co-parent with a partner you are no longer with? How was that? Was he easy? Was she easy? Were you guys able to put the child first and focused on the best interest of the child? How did you come to that resolution? Was communication easy? Was it easy to put the child first? I'm Becca, a Serenadian, host of Dimdin podcast, and I want to debrief our most recent episode, which was on co-parenting after separation made easy. It was a beautiful episode. I think there's a lot of co-parenting in the world today because, unfortunately, hi, how are you? Your name is in a different language, I feel like. So I cannot really, I see A, and A, and there's Cobra 7. Hi, how are you? My name is Becca. I'm host of Dimdin podcast. And I was just hoping we could talk a little bit about our most recent episode, Co-parenting after separation made easy. There's a lot of bites in that one that we have to talk about a little bit more. I feel like there's a lot of that in the world today, and even the statistics are super high on parents that are having to co-parent after having their child. And unfortunately, sometimes we feel like we're going to be together forever, but life does not go that as well as we would like it to go all the time. So, of course, two adults may separate after a beautiful relationship or a toxic one. And when they have a child in the picture, separation is not as easy as those who do not have a child in the picture. And now they have to try and put their differences aside and focus on the interest of the child. How many adults are able to do that? How many adults are able to do that? It's a big one. It's a big one for sure. So please send in your input, send in your questions. If you've seen it, great. If you haven't, it's on my channel. It's showing. And I would love for you to take a look at it. We just recently got approved to partner with YouTube. So I'm super excited. I was really forward to that. And it's such a blessing. I am so excited. And so one of the recommendations was to try and come live a bit often and connect with my community. And I'm like, okay, I think I'll do that because you guys are special, right? I cannot do what I do without your support. And some of you I don't even know, right? So this is one way that I can get to know you, and you can get to know a little bit about me, my what brought about the birth of Dimdin podcast, and what we talk about, what it's about. So please ask those questions. I am more than willing to have conversations about those questions today. Who are you? Like, who's on the other side? Where are you joining us from? How's your day going? What time is it at your end? Is it daytime? Nighttime? Which country are you joining from? Please, as you join, let me know who you are, where you're joining from. I'd like to get to know you a little bit. I am Becca, Syrian because I was originally born from Sierra Leone, but I now live in Canada, and I'm a citizen of Canada. So I take the Sierra part of the Sierra Leone and the Canadian part of the Canadian. I put those two together, and I now call myself the Syrian. A little bit of both identities. I put them together to phrase my new identity, Becca the Syrian. Where are you joining us from? Is that where you were born? Did you migrate to that country? What's the time at your country now? Our most recent episode, again, for those who are just joining, was on parenting after separation. A very touchy topic, but a big reality in the world today. Have you experienced that? Do you know someone that has? Were they able to put their differences aside and focus on the best interest of the child? If yes, how did they come to that conclusion? How did they come to that agreement? Was it easy? Was it difficult? Was it an easy agreement? Was it a difficult agreement? I'm interested to hear what you have to say. I would love to bring people on, but unfortunately, I don't know how to use YouTube to do that. So if anybody has a comment, question, concern, please just write a comment. And I am actively looking at the comments to see what people have to say so we can engage. I don't want to talk to myself consistently. It feels so weird. It feels so weird when you're talking to yourself. But yeah, have you ever had to parent or co-parent with an ex-partner after separation? If yes, how did it go? Were you both able to put your differences aside and focus on the best interest of the child? If no, what were some of the barriers? What were the difficulties? What were some of the barriers? What were the difficulties? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about whether or not you ever have had to co-parent with an ex-partner after separation. Was it an easy decision to make? Was it a difficult one? Were you able to put your differences aside and focus on the best interest of the child? We want to learn how you were able to do it, if yes. And if no, what were your challenges or what are your challenges? Why is it difficult for you to come to an agreement? Who is the child staying with? What were some of, or what are some of the day-to-day challenges that you have? Is your new partner accepting of this arrangement? Is it affecting your ability to be in a new relationship? Let's hear what you have to say. My name is Becca, host of Dimdin podcast. I call myself the Sierra Canadian, and I am recording from, well, I'm going live from somewhere in Canada. Somewhere in Canada. I'd like to know who's on the other side and where you're joining us from. Co-parenting after separation. Going live is hard. It's difficult. It's like you're looking at yourself consistently talking, and it's just you. And you're hoping to hear from people so that you can connect that way. It's difficult. Abna, and Oprah. Thank you both for joining. Much appreciated. Much, much, much appreciated. Thank you for joining me. Amen. Thank you for joining me. Thank you both. Thank you for joining. What is your name? Where are you joining from? Please, please, please let me know. I'm looking to engage. I am Patricia, host of the Dimdin podcast. Looking to connect with someone. Come on. I was told I have to come on live frequently to connect with my community. So here I am connecting. I'm ready to connect. I'm trying to figure out this YouTube business. I was encouraged to come on live frequently and connect. Hi, you. Hello, you. Thank you for joining. I am Becca, the Dimdin podcast host. I'm looking to answer questions and to debrief our last episode, which was on co-parenting after separation. It was a beautiful conversation from someone with a lived experience, professional experience on working with people who've been through that. And she actually recently created a non-for-profit organization that is also open to supporting people who are experiencing that, to be able to negotiate terms, mediate between them when needed, so that they can put the child's best interest first. Because that child did not ask for any of what is happening. So the hope is that both parents would be able to put their differences aside, focus on the child, and focus on making sure that the child is able to experience what they need from both parents in the child's best interest. Hi, thanks for joining. Where are you joining from? I feel like as soon as I ask that question, the person disappears. Don't disappear, please. I want to know where you're joining from. Hello, I'm Becca, Dimdin podcast host. Who are you and where are you joining from? Oh, you're gone. There. Hi, Mike. How are you? I am actually going live from Canada as well. It's lovely to chat. Um, I'm, I'm Becca, like I said, the Dimdin podcast host. And our new episode that came out on actually a couple of days ago is on co-parenting after separation. And we recently got accepted into the partner program on YouTube. I'm super excited. And one of the suggestions was to come live a bit more often so I can connect with my community. So here I am connecting. It's lovely to hear from you. To the other two people who just good to hear, sis. Wonderful, wonderful. To the other two people who just joined us, please, please, please tell me who you are and where you're joining from. I'm looking to engage. It's really weird to have to talk to myself. It feels like I'm doing that right now. Feels like I'm talking to myself right now. But I really just want to talk about the whole idea of having to co-parent after separation. What are some of the challenges experienced in that chapter? How adults are able to manage those challenges and not use the child as bait. You know, I feel like most people would use the child as bait to get to the other one, to get to either parent. You're not, sis. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And that I think is a big challenge where a parent would say, like, whichever parent is in charge of the child or takes care of the day-to-day of the child or the financial piece of the child, but either sort of like deprive one parent of seeing the child or does not support that parent with the child's needs, just to say, hey, like there's always some kind of ways that they choose to deprive each other using the child as bait to do so. And that, I think, even though the parents might be getting their way by doing that, the child is struggling in the picture. Some children have been a product of that, and some adults are experiencing that, right? So in that episode, we talked about some of the challenges that are faced, and our guest talked about now being in a mixed family. So when a different person is now in the family, you have a child with that person, how do you navigate those complexities, complex relationships? They shouldn't be complex, but we're humans. Sometimes our emotions take the front seat and they're a lot higher than our logic. So we tend to make decisions that do not necessarily represent the human in us. The decisions we tend to make sometimes do not necessarily take into consideration the innocent child that's involved, that did not ask for the conflicts, that did not ask for the separation. And that definitely has nothing to do with the factors that influenced the separation. So, as adults who are better able to make some of these decisions, how do we put our differences aside? How do we communicate? How do we prioritize the child, regardless of how we feel about each other? Now, that is the challenge. This guest that I had, she started an organization, a non-for-profit organization that actually helps with mediation, resource finding. They can provide you emotional counseling if needed. And I was also telling, I had also said that Mike, I don't know if you're from the African community at all, but most Africa diasporans, I find there's a huge struggle with like the trust that they have for the court system. It's either we don't necessarily understand the benefits of it, or we probably just don't think it's sort of like it's tailored to our cultural needs per se. So a lot of people don't utilize the court system when they're going through separation to sort of like agree on the parenting sort of like timelines, who's getting the child when, to talk about child benefits, to talk about the safety of the child. Mom either gets upset and say, I would show you that I can do this without you, or I don't want dad to be in the picture, so I'm going to just keep child away from that. And when you're demanding things from the other parents, but you're refusing them their rights to that child, then you don't get anything. And it's like at the end of the day, it's a lose-lose situation, and the child gets caught up in that process. And it definitely is not healthy for the child's growth, for the child's stress level, for the child's regulation, and all of those spaces. So yeah, I thought it was a much needed conversation, and I really enjoyed that episode. If you haven't seen it, if you don't know about Dimdin podcast, I highly encourage you to connect. We just try to share as much as we can about the Africa Diasporan, some of the challenges we experience with our transition from the African way of knowing and being to the Western way of knowing and being, trying to find that happy balance that allows for us to be useful contributors to society in the Western world, but also allows us to find a fine balance between what we've known and how do we maintain some of those ways of knowing, so that we don't necessarily feel like we're killing or we're getting rid of the African in us just to merge into the Western world. I don't know how much sense that made. But yeah, that's what Dimdin podcast is really hoping to do. Have tough conversations, because at the end of the day, for us to work together, we need to get to know each other, right? If you know a little bit about me and I know a little bit about you, there's a chance you would be a bit more patient with me. You'd be a bit more empathetic towards me, and you would exercise more caution when thinking about, like, if I do something wrong, right? Because you know a little bit about me. Whereas if you don't know me at all, it's easy to make decisions that may harm me without feeling any sort of like sympathy or empathy, because you don't know me. So the whole idea is, now that we've left our countries of birth and migrated into the Western world, the different parts of the Western world, we need to be able to talk about some of our ways of knowing that shaped us into the people that we are today, and that in to a high degree influence our decisions in the different areas that we find ourselves, in our parenting style, in our social, the way we socialize with other people, the way we manage stress, the way we're able to regulate and co-regulate, the way like our confidence, our courage, our willingness to like step out into the open and make decisions or go into places of leadership, our homes, marriage, and like all these other areas. It's definitely a bit different, the way we see things and the way we do things. So being able to talk about it allows for our next door neighbors to feel like they get us a little bit. And we, in the long run, we're hoping to also open the platform for other nationalities, other races to also tell us some of the misconceptions that they've heard about us and some of the things they would like to see from us to feel like they can better collaborate with us. So yeah, that's a little bit about Dimdin. I've talked enough for today. I'm going to try and come online once a day for the next few days and meet new people, talk a little bit about Dimdin podcast, and hopefully try and attract more people to the community. Thank you so much, Mike, for staying with me through this. Whoever else is there, I genuinely appreciate you. Yeah, God bless and stay blessed. Bye-bye.